Top of the morning to you and welcome to New Day on Signature TV, your favorite weekend show where we bring you diverse perspectives and in-depth analysis about topics across Nigeria and beyond. Speaking of which, this morning in the show, we'll be discussing our culture of caring for our elderly and of course the changing trends over the years, so you would want to stick around for that conversation. I am your host, Chigi Chiagoram. Don't forget that you can be part of this conversation. So, on social media, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, go like, comment, share, tell us your thoughts as we discuss some of the important topics that we have for the day at Signature TV Official. We are also live on SLTV Channel 265. We are there bringing you very interesting content. All right, up next, after now, do stay with us, newspaper headlines and review. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is New Day, again, your favorite weekend show on Signature TV, and welcome to our newspaper headlines and review. Well, first up, Saturday Monitor, Kampala choking. Interestingly, on toxic air, 2 empirical studies show that millions of residents in Kampala are breathing in dangerous levels of air pollutant known to cause premature death and increase the risk of an array of serious medical conditions. On page 4 of Saturday Monitor. Art and leisure, drums, dance and diplomacy. On page 11, talking about cultural diplomacy and how you can use drums and dance to push your agenda. Still on Saturday Monitor, on the news, Ugandan author wins Commonwealth Prize and road to 2026. In politics, hot political climate turns convoys into death traps. Next up, Saturday Punch. On entertainment, Iyabo Ojo battles Liz Anjorin and threats after office fire, page 17. NNPC mulls refineries sale after Dangote's verdict, on page 25, still on Saturday Punch. Jitters in Osun APC, PDP over Delegate's defection plan, on page 4. Another flood alert. Panic in 20 states as residents vacate high-risk areas, on page 4, with riders, governments allay fears, residents demand better response plans, environmentalists fault states over poor flood preparedness. Still on Saturday Punch, rejections forced me to take funeral home job, coming from a lady born with one hand. When the sirens go silent, inside Lagos dying emergency ambulance system. Lagos Chief Justice inaugurates tribunal ahead of today's local government poll, on page 5. Ex-diplomats differ on federal government's response to U.S. visa restriction, on page 19. And Tinubu backs AFRIMA 2025 as federal government raises committee. Finally, on Saturday Punch, Bauchi Governor Sanwo-Olu to speak at Jakonde's lecture July 23rd. Over to the Saturday Independent, above the mast, Ohaneze youths call for calm over Igbo leaders' installation in Ghana, page 6. Kogi, Ododo's investor-friendly policies attract high net worth investments, coming from FAMU, on page 4. Nigerians under siege, caption, lawyers decry escalating human rights abuses, page 8. AFRIMA extravaganza 2025 award gets presidential backing, page 21. On coalition, Bode George berates Atiku, Mark Tambuwal, others for joining ADC on page 4. Whitwider insists party won't zone presidential ticket to North. Lagos braces for crime-free local government elections today on page 30. I'm mentioned in rooms I've never entered, coming from Mawu. Okay, and still on Saturday Independent, NGE set for third Latif Jakonde lecture for courses on nation building. Spotlight over 2 weekend trusts. Rat infestation claim at Villa was a cover for Buhari's illness, coming from Garba Shehu on page 20. Plateau courts remands 20 suspects accused of killing wedding guests on page 20. 2027, more governors eye Senate on page 12. Ahead of NEC, APC dangles chairmanship between North Central and Northwest. Our lives as police pensioners on page 17. NMPTL considering sale of refineries or jewelry on page 20. Finally, on the weekend trust, bandits kill 7 passengers, abduct others along Zamfara Road, page 41. Back to the Guardian weekend above the mast on politics, page 11. Why Sokoto lawmakers become chief promoters of Ali's second term, coming from Bala Bolinga. On arts, page 15, Ido's echoes of innocence. Unite APSA Alliance Francais. On 2027 elections, hurdles before APC coalition as Nigerians weigh options. NGE holds third Latif Jakonde Memorial Lecture, July 23rd. Still on the Guardian weekend, Shettima dismisses alleged rift with Tinubu, decries misrepresentation of remarks. 2. Tinubu backs as federal government inaugurates Loti Rider Minister pledges Lagos, page 2. Finally, Aka inducts Obi of Onitsha to Jari Fellows on page 3. On Saturday, Tribune, both Tribune editor and columnist Ola 13 profs become fellows of Wali of Letters, page 10. Vice President Shettima warns that fabricating conflict with riders, says comment on an indictment of president and political correctness. ADC, from the ADC on page 4. Court. My wife sleeps with from husband. It is true. Pay our children's fees, coming from wife. Interesting yourself and 21 of me. 2025 as federal government inaugural committee. ADC to PDP says Governor Makin the Southwest leaders reaffirm unity on page 4. Still on Saturday, Trump death dashes hopes on tending chieftaincy title holders in. I lost my wealth, my wife cost me. Man's Health Court. On local government polls, Sanwo-Olu urges Lagosians to troop out today. All right, and that's the much you can take on our newspaper headlines. And over to our newspaper review, Chris the Oracle Madoka is on set to do justice to that. Good morning, Chris. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Is it just greeting? You should have been welcome.
Let me prostrate, maybe.
Start with this your distractive smile. So.
I'm not distracted.
Thank you.
You're welcome, so Chris. Good morning.
Good morning and good morning the world, and welcome to another morning of. Let's look at what's happening around our country, Nigeria, and around the world. It's just that what happened in Nigeria doesn't give us chance to look at what happened in other places. The first thing we saw here is Kampala is choking. And we saw that the graphic picture of some cities in Nigeria may as well be choking too, because we find some items being transported in some open. I know there's a law that said when you are carrying sand, stones, and all that. And we might find this, what is happening in this graphics picture on that first page of Saturday Monitor, showing some other place and maybe repeating itself in Nigeria. So if Kampala can choke, it means Lagos can choke too, Ibadan can choke, Enugu can choke.
Usually when we talk about, pollution, it's usually about oil. Remember what happened in Port Harcourt the last time? But I'm looking at the picture here on.
No, we have environmental pollution that comes with massive, dust from factories, from mobile vehicles like this, from everywhere, and everything is pushing the world towards that self-destruction. The environmentalists have said and predicted, and we pray we do not behave like what they say we should. Man is the greatest enemy to God's given nature. So a lot of things we do are putting us at risk as humans. So imagine a place where such a trailer or a tipper carrying whatever that is generating such dust, and it could have been just ordinary sand, but has a lot of dust. And if you move around everywhere it goes, it shares it out. And the whole thing, like I can always say, any goat that is lying on the ground is lying on its skin. Because once it moves, it's the same people, the same home environment that will take the outcome of this. And that's one thing about human beings. They do not care about others. And most of the time they use law to help make them care.
Since we are talking about the environment, let's talk about the flood alert.
Yeah, we're coming to Punch, and that's the big headline on the Punch. We have been crying on this desk about our Nigerian preparedness. Our preparedness. If you remember, 2 days ago on Signature Morning, a professor of environmental studies at University of Nnamdi Azikiwe University, the medical school campus in Nnewi, that's Professor Bonyi, was on Zoom, and we talked to our anchor here, Uche, about the environment and flood. He touched on several things about flood. My concern now is that the panic in 20 states as residents vacate high-risk area. Now they are saying government has already the fear, but residents are demanding better response and plans from government. It takes the NIMET, which is a government agency, to predict there will be flood. It takes the states who this alert has been led
accordingly.
Then the people. Nothing works in Nigeria unless you help it along. That was what my professor said. May God bless his soul, Professor Yuv Kerry. He said, nothing works unless you help him along. And I find that expression very, very apt in Nigerian situation. So it's not just government has given alert and they say residents move. What happened to the ones who are living with disability? What happened to the vulnerable, the women and children, single mothers who are, probably are tenants and are managing to occupy one room in some locations? Move. It's just a move. Flood is coming. Move to where? And if you are moving them to camps that the IDPs has already taken place, we have more than 6 million people out living, displaced people living in they are already a problem. Now, the government in these of 20 states or the endemic states of flood in Nigeria, have they designated some areas as camp? During COVID, it didn't take government more than 2 days to create quarantine places for people. That it will tell you that the one, came to the bird, the flies without touching, that the hunter can always learn. But we know what we do and refuse to do it. And as far as we are concerned, most of these states either their governors are working on returning back, or planning defection, or planning with the people who already consume with 2027. But we have a high risk alert on our hands. I'm not a prophet of doom, but God help us. You will be here at TV. You will be on newspaper headline. You will see how the same flood who have been announced long time to be forewarned, they say, to be forearmed. But in Nigeria, to be forewarned, to be foregisted. Just they give you gist ahead of time, and then people will stay. But whatever happened, if this kind of alert and people predict that it comes to fruition and it consumes Nigeria, if this then the governments of these states are not ready, or whoever sits in their positions as government or governors, commissioners, appointees, and all, answering big names, living in safe houses in state capitals. I don't know any state capital that is accounted as being endemic or at risk. It's always be those fringe city, village and communities. And then we, as usual, if the members of the National Assembly are not comfortably living in National Assembly quarters in Abuja, their governors are comfortable at the state capitals, and they will is talking to them instead of talking with them. And these things will come to fruition. God forbid. God forbid. So let's go, Chigi, but it's a major issue we talk about. Lawyers decry escalating human rights abuses. In Nigeria, you are decrying human rights abuses. How can you decry human rights abuses in a country of human rights abuse?
Interesting.
Prove me otherwise. Whose rights in Nigeria have not been abused? The masses are the people who, if their rights are abused, then everybody's rights are abused. Don't we have rights to food and the good rights?
Everybody knows that there's escalating human rights abuses. The question is, our lawyers, what are they doing about it?
The lawyers are touched because what is touched Okeke has touched Okafor. So the lawyers are there, see how they are just remembering to decry.
Are they setting up any pro bono kind of arrangement for persons who are abused to come and lay their complaints so they can be represented in court? I mean, is there any way out of this quagmire, or it's just to...
My Gen Z friends, they were not born when that music by Skeeter Davis. How can I help you when I fall into it? If the lawyers are abused too, the one who defend the abusers are abused too. It takes, somebody to be seen clearly, to be able to see that there is a speck, a dust in a neighbor's eye. If there's no log in his own eyes, everybody in Nigeria is going through what you call mass abuse, and that abuse is when you eat food. There is general abuse of hunger and hardship has affected everybody. So the ones who have that human feeling of giving you pro bono services are also hungry. They can't even pay their way to the court, because somebody want to come and save you, he has to be able to pay his way to the court and then file the papers as somebody defending you, appearing to defend you. Some of those things that you would have paid for, he will do it free. That's pro bono. But when the person cannot even buy, lawyers want to dress smart. If you see the way some lawyers dress these days, you will feel that some of them cannot replace their wigs. Some cannot polish their shoes. Some dress, I'm sorry to say, you hardly know that. When you see lawyers before, you want to, that's what you high level of, in Nigerian universities, you always find that even with 300, you can't get in to do law. Everybody wants to do law, because when they look at lawyers, they say, when I grow up, I want to be like you. But these days, if there are no landlords who are building houses, If there are no people, two Nigerians fighting because of hunger and hardship, for him to go and do Okunuka settlement, the lawyers would have died of hunger. What else can lawyers do in Nigeria? So you find some lawyers who their shoes, the sole of their shoes as made as swear to God, because those are the ones who provide pro bono. We are all in the same human rights abuse, and we know our common enemy, and they know they are abusing everybody. So Nigeria is a nation of human rights abuse. Let somebody who is not abused, put them at the side, then put the ones who their rights have been abused, and then when we wait, we know whether I'm saying the truth.
All right,
Coalition, Bodo George berates Atiku, Mark, Tambuwa, others for joining ADC. Insists that party won't zone presidential ticket to the north. I've never seen anybody, maybe they are thinking in their mind, because Bodo George at his age might be seeing through the mind of people. People are joining coalitions to beef up, I mean, to have what they call the capacity to go to the polls and stand a chance with the ruling party, APC. So if PDP that Bodo George is trying to salvage is losing people to the coalition, and then this is what I don't know what he's saying. Whether APC has said he is in PDP and he said he will not leave PDP, he will live and die with PDP, which is beautiful. I like his principle. Yes. Being at least a principled human being at his age. But you can't begin to speak for others. Is he speaking for ADC when he's not in ADC? ADC has not started talking about, probably they will be talking behind closed doors, doing horse trading. Everybody who want to compete for be our president will dictate. It's at the end of it all, when they finish, they have voting, it's democracy. Then they will say, okay, this is where we are zoning and for Bodo George to begin now to say that ADC will never, when he is still in PDP, that's one of the things I see about Nigerian politicians. They talk for everybody and they don't even talk for themselves.
Well, he's an elder statesman.
And then being an elder statesman did not give him the insight to see that Nigerian political structures are collapsing. PDP had 16 years of being in power, 80 years after they lost power to redeem their image. They keep missing Bangwa and they are laughing. One day you wake up in a town called PDP, one man will miss. So we lost one person today. They keep going on until they go into extinction. When they held the giant down, I'm talking about PDP because I've spoken so much about it, and the people who said was Christian Madika paid to defend PDP. And at the point that I said, if the people I'm talking for are not talking for themselves, what do you want to do? Will I cry more than the bereaved? Not if they carry them name. So I now said, PDP, please salvage yourself. You have long years. You held a giant down. You could not slap or beat giant. And the giant managed to stand up. And that's at the time you're struggling to jump, to scratch. If they need the prayer warriors, PDP. So they really hear there was. Somebody in Nigeria wrote a novel, they said there was. So sometimes you hear there was a party.
There was a party. So Vice President Shettima is crying out. And he's warning the tractors. Saturday Tribune says, stop fabricating conflict between me and Tinubu. What do you make of this?
I've said it. Each other woman and man. You see a husband and wife fighting. You want to step in to go and probably when you finish and you left, they will use you as Ziaza room talk. Ziaza room talk. When they say, don't mind that. She thinks she's so clever. I want to come and settle for me, honey, and they honey themselves to somewhere Ziaza room, and we become point of talk. We have a president, and we have his running mate, and from all indication, even the Shettima that people are trying to go and defend, we now say they are trying to cause trouble for me and my principal. Can't you see that? So all those who step into whatever, wanting to explain who gave them the power to to explain what the Vice President of Federal Republic of Nigeria said, who got the power to interpret it. And the Shetima said, these people want to cause trouble between me and Jagaban, my Oga. So I have to join Shetima to plead with you Nigerians who are agents of distraction. Leave Vice President alone. He is in good terms with his boss. And he has not said anything to disparage or to disrespect or to bring to contempt his boss, the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria. So for no indication, say away. Leave the oil and the salt to settle their case, because you will not be there when they settle. So, because some of the people would have interpreted, like we were interpreting, that the APC has adopted, before they say second term review, within 702 years in office of President Jagaban, the APC has called the National Executive Council meeting and said, hey, on the mandate we start. But when the man looked back, we thought that when the snail is moving, it will carry its shell. We look back on mandate we start, we did not see Shetima, so we started. But now Shetima has come all out and said, don't worry about me. The snail that I'm its shell will pull along, or someday, even if he had gone far, remember they dropped me somewhere, he will come back and pull me back. So let everybody not step into the issue of Shetima and Jagaban.
I think
I know that the time is almost.
You do have a very uncanny way of explaining.
Almost before APC coalition as Nigerians were options. That is, we are the level of option. We are the level of option. Thank God that at last they remember that we as Nigerians have option. Glory be to God. It got to a point we thought Nigerians have lost the option, but nothing past God. So if Nigeria, at the end of it all, have, and even these people are talking about Nigerians weighing options, they now remember there are still Nigerians, and it's not, and Nigeria can never be for only you politicians. There is still Nigerians. So along your line of playing your cards and you forget, along the line God will bring something that will give Nigerians options. And Nigerians, time is coming, and we are calling on everybody, we should not misuse another God-given option.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
God will give us the grace as Nigerians to remember to use our options, God-given options very well. God bless Nigeria, and God bless you for joining us this morning.
God bless
Thank
Nigeria.
you, Chidi. Give me that your smile again. Okay, thank you.
All right, that will be the much you can take on newspaper headlines and review.
Signature TV, news in your pocket.